Deep within Buddhist philosophy lie meticulously crafted methods and clear stages aimed at perfecting control over the mind. A significant portion of Buddhist teachings is dedicated to this goal. Repeated application of these techniques leads to a gradual improvement in thought management skills. Repetition plays a key role, as it is through daily life and practice that we develop the necessary skills and qualities. This is why the process is called a practice, emphasizing active participation in self-improvement. Buddhism is not so much a system of beliefs as a path of learning and applying knowledge in practice. As a starting point, it is suggested to master control over speech, which is a more accessible task than working directly with thoughts. Thoughts arise quickly, sometimes instantaneously, and initially one may lack the skill to track every thought, even for a short period. Speech, on the other hand, is a slower process, providing a kind of time buffer between thought and its expression in words. It is not without reason that there is a saying that encourages one to think before speaking. To develop control over speech, the practice of right speech is used, which brings enormous benefits. Any healthy society welcomes people who can speak clearly and constructively. As an exercise, one can try to eliminate filler words, profanity, obscenities, and empty chatter that can cause discord from one's speech. There is much more to come, and only by watching to the end can one discover how far one can advance on this path of self-improvement. Eradicating verbal clutter from speech is a task that requires time and conscious effort, but is quite feasible for everyone. It will take several weeks of focused work for unwanted elements to begin to disappear from statements, opening up new horizons in life. Remember how irritating it is to listen to speakers who overuse filler words like or sort of, which carry no semantic load but only clutter the airwaves. Getting rid of obscene language is certainly a feasible task. In childhood, in the presence of parents, at school, and now at work with superiors or clients, a person controls their speech. It is important to activate this self-control skill and apply it on an ongoing basis. The ability to manage speech filters at will is a valuable gift. Speech is a reflection of thinking. The ability to consciously turn on and off even simple filters in speech is a step towards strengthening free will. If life is like a dream, where thoughts flow in a chaotic stream and speech spirals out of control, leading to trouble, then the degree of free will leaves much to be desired. Not immediately, but with each conscious attempt, the reader will feel how ossified patterns of thinking gradually give way to change. This requires concentration of will and effort over oneself. Speaking of curbing speech activity, one should not imagine an ascetic silent type who utters only rare but weighty phrases. This is too radical an approach. Buddha called for moderation in everything. This is especially true for those whose life in the world is inextricably linked with communication. The task is to transform from a person whose speech is unrestrained and who cannot keep secrets into a personality who radiates harmony and balance. If the reader is entrusted with a secret that cannot be disclosed, or has made a decision to refrain from discussing a certain topic, it is important to constantly remember this and restrain impulsive urges of the mind. This is also part of the Eightfold Path, the practice of mindfulness, the ability to keep important ideas in mind and remember them in time. Moreover, if after a pointless conversation one feels a decline in strength, it is worth considering reducing such contacts. Buddha instructed, one should avoid empty chatter, speak appropriately, truthfully, and for the benefit of others. At the right moment, utter words that are meaningful, reasonable, balanced, and useful. In the modern world, the problem of hate speech is of particular relevance, which, unfortunately, finds fertile ground for its spread in the online space. The virtual environment provides ample opportunities to hone the skills of inciting conflict. Before giving in to the impulse to leave a sarcastic, malicious, or inflammatory comment that could sow animosity between people, it is worth asking oneself about the advisability of such an action. How useful is it to cultivate a tendency towards such manifestations in oneself? Does it bring real benefit to oneself, the surrounding world, or other people? Buddha urged refraining from speech that sows discord. He taught not to spread what is heard in one place to another. so as not to provoke enmity between people. On the contrary, he advised reconciling those who had quarreled and strengthening friendship between those who were already in agreement. He valued harmony, rejoiced in it, enjoyed it, and only said things that contributed to its establishment. Following these principles is not merely a matter of ethics and seeking to protect the world from evil and negativity. It is, first and foremost, a practice of self-control, a training of the mind. By refraining from hateful language, a person cultivates beneficial qualities and gets rid of destructive tendencies. If we have decided to train our minds, it is logical to direct our efforts in a constructive direction, developing qualities that benefit both ourselves and those around us. We should not forget the interconnectedness of all aspects of human existence. By perfecting one's speech, an individual simultaneously advances in other areas of self-development. Buddha emphasized the importance of consciously refraining from incorrect speech, noting that this action is inextricably linked to correct worldview, diligence, and awareness. Many people overestimate their ability to control their bodies. Common unconscious actions, such as tapping fingers, sighing, or making involuntary sounds, suggest otherwise. Facial expressions often betray a person's thoughts and feelings, even when they are not aware of it. Managing the body is a more complex task than controlling speech, as the body continues to act continuously, even during sleep. To develop awareness, it is recommended to purposefully abandon some minor but persistent physical habit, such as the habit of fidgeting a leg, biting nails, or frowning. An alternative approach is to consciously follow this habit. That is, a person should be aware that they are performing this action. It is important to stop and resume the action at will, and not under the influence of chaotic impulses of the mind. Similar to working with speech, trying to change a bodily habit will reveal tension in the mind and resistance to established patterns of behavior. In this context, the practice of mindfulness, which is one aspect of remembrance, is invaluable. However, achieving success will require due effort. Buddha emphasized the importance of striving, diligence, and intention aimed at preventing the development of undesirable qualities, getting rid of those that have already arisen, and maintaining, strengthening, and improving useful skills. This is the right effort, requiring the ability to manage oneself, not suppress oneself. Buddhism offers many techniques for direct mind management, among which meditation occupies a special place. Buddha asserted that the development of meditation allows the mind to remain undisturbed, like space, not allowing pleasant and unpleasant sensations to capture and hold it. Each of us has probably encountered obsessive negative thoughts that bring suffering. However, by training the ability to direct and hold the mind on a chosen object with a gentle, calm effort, without excessive tension, a person comes closer to the possibility of consciously choosing their thoughts. Over time, advancing in the practice of meditation, one can learn to instantly get rid of unwanted thoughts, as if by snapping one's fingers. Imagine the degree of freedom when a person gains the ability to independently determine the course of their thoughts, filtering out the unnecessary and concentrating on the important. Almost all meditation techniques are aimed at achieving this goal. Take, for example, physical fitness. Without targeted exercises, it is difficult to develop and strengthen muscles. Of course, physical activity may be present in everyday life, for example, when performing physical work. However, if you spend most of your time sitting or lying down, it is almost impossible to do without fitness. Why do we expect our minds to work differently? Meditation is a kind of fitness, but for the mind. Just as we do push-ups, squats, and pull-ups for 20 minutes, we can dedicate 20 minutes to meditation. Ideally, various techniques should be practiced throughout the day. Then the result will be achieved faster and will be more significant. The goal of meditation practice is not just passive observation or awareness, but complete control over one's mind. At the same time, control should be natural and harmonious, without undue tension. A person should be able to manage their thoughts and feelings as easily as moving their fingers, not allowing them to control themselves.